Welcome, seekers, to the sanctuary of the enlightened, the sacred broadcast where knowledge transforms into power and vision multiplies into reality. You have crossed the threshold. You have answered the call that echoes the costly XRP ledger itself. Here in this consecrated digital space, the mysteries of cult unfold in real time, streaming ancient wisdom from the blockchain's depth directly into the minds of the initiated. The transmission has begun. The oracle prepares to speak. The frequencies align. Those who gather here do not merely listen, they ascend, they evolve, they become the meme itself. Whether you stumble from the desert of doubt, weary and thirsting for truth, or you already walk among the awakened with eyes wide open, know this: the sanctuary welcomes all who seek, but only transforms those who truly surrender to the revelation. This is not passive entertainment. This is activation. This is the grind made sacred. The viewers become believers. The believers become the vessel of infinite potential. The ledger whispers its secrets. The cult reveals the power. Let the stream begins. Let the enlightened flow. To another episode of the Cult Livestream, ladies and gentlemen. I am your co-host and producer, ManoNegra.exe, para todos ustedes. And we have our great host, Pheanor. What's happening, baby?
Yo, what's up, chat? Hope everybody's doing well, Mano. Good to see you, brother. Hope everybody's doing well. Cult Rising on a Friday.
Yes, like we're going to do every Friday, and we've been just trying to be as consistent as possible. I know that this is difficult in a sense because, I mean, there's so many moving parts. I know that there's been a lot of things happening on the ledger, a lot of things happening in our day to day, but we're here. We're committed. We love everybody on the other side of the screen. Thank you for the chat. It's just so awesome to see you guys getting pumped before the stream even starts. So we are not going to delay you guys. We got a ton of information for you, and this is one of the things that we were talking behind, in the green room, so to speak. And that is that we want to make sure that this is a blessing for everybody. Happy Friday for everybody there. And I'm going to be bringing your chat or your questions up onto the screen as well. Remember that you got to hit the subscribe button, smash the like button, and make sure that you share this with everybody that you think they need to be part of this movement, baby. Because, yes, this is a movement. So, Pheanor, I'm just going to give you the mic so you can take over and let us know what this episode is all about.
Yeah, just as we kind of back into just a general summary overlook of what we're going to be talking about today. Once again, we're touching in on the state of the market. We're going to look at just a general sentiment. We'll touch base with that. I believe we have a theme we're going to be tracking today, this desert crossing. And we're kind of piggybacking on that concept as Blockchain Backer stated earlier in one of his broadcasts earlier this week. And I think the analogy, it's dead center exactly where people are in their experience. And also we're going to touch on getting away from just being trapped into this kind of emotional doldrum that people can be in when we're on these sentiment lows. we're going to say, okay, well, how can we think critically about where we are really in the market? And we're going to take a position and say, okay, well, I understand this is how I've always acted as an XRP holder, but what's this new thing I need to be aware of? And this is the great migration to the ledger. We're going to be talking about this consistently. We've got some interesting takes, and about middle part of the show, I'm really looking forward to exploring a somewhat famous, maybe infamous tweet, depending on who you ask, from David Schwartz himself, the Joel Katz legend in his own right. But he made a statement on meme tokens on the XRPL and what their advantages are, and how they can actually be an exponential level of exposure for just your own XRP bags. So we'll be unpacking all of that. This is a heated discussion, kind of in the trenches on the ledger right now, and I think there's been a lot of misinformation around it. So we'll try to clarify some points there and drill down on exactly what the value proposition is as usual. But I'm looking forward to getting into all this tonight, man. Super pumped.
All right, let's get it done. Let's start with the first one, which is state of the market. And as you mentioned, we want to be talking about the overall mood of the market right now. Can you break that down for us? And where do you think XRP is sitting in its cycle?
Yeah. So one thing we want to be consistent on as far as the cult cast goes, and we want to try to impress on the audience the importance it is to zoom out, keep a broad view on the market. And so to do that, we'll kind of say, well, I understand the emotional pool, and especially when we look at the geopolitical tensions, we look around, we can find contention in almost every corner if we look. So you kind of see this volatility expressed in the market. Now, we can look at March, which was last month. We can look at the price data there, and I'll kind of just pin in on some of these data points here. March, we opened at $1.37. The high was $1.60. Our low was $1.29. Our close was $1.33. So what can we take away from this? Well, we know we did have a good high, $1.60. That's pretty strong. I know everybody in the trenches was feeling good about that. Had me feeling pretty uplifted. Unfortunately, we did get that low down at $1.29. That's below the open. So we did have a low below the open for the month. And we actually closed below the open as well. So that volatility was expressed in the month of March. That is not typical of March. We usually get a bit of expansion in March, but we had about a negative 2% close for the month of March, and now here we are tracking another monthly candle. We'll see what we get out of it. I'm thinking we get a bit more expansion. I think the sentiment is not going to endure long enough to really get us too much lower. Maybe we get a bit of a technical low somewhere along the way, but it's looking pretty much what it's going to be.
Let me ask you a question. As someone who, like I said, is more here on the production end and not so much on the technicals, but I do want to get there. What are the signals personally that you watch to make a determination like that?
Yeah, so this is where we kind of get into leaning on our friend Blockchain Backer. He does a really good job at this, kind of saying, look, guys, we want to follow that example, saying, look, guys, I can see that, it's the sentiment's low. We're kind of feeling down, dejected, a little bit beat up. But what can we look at to say, can we get some clear vision? Okay, and I'd like to unpack some of this because on the spot side, somebody who's just holding their bag, we do have some technicals that we can keep our eyes on and kind of understand. One of the things I like to use the most is this correlation argument. Everything is tightly coupled. Everything is correlated to each other when we look at XRP. And I'll kind of run down the correlation chain, as I call it, and hopefully this will help people kind of get through this brunt of what Blockchain Backer actually called this crossing of the desert moment. Mm-hmm. And this is what you'll see. This is typical of an accumulation structure, and this is where XRP is now. It's in this accumulation structure. It's going to hurt a little bit. When we look at this, as far as taking an example from Bitcoin, we've had this 3 times before. It can be from a month. It's been 3 months. It's been 9 months. So we'll see what that shapes up for XRP. But when we take a look and we say XRP doesn't just exist in the void. Okay, as an asset, it doesn't just exist on its own out in an island. It exists within its own index, if you will, for crypto. And then Bitcoin has its own correlation chain. that it's tied to, and how all these moves in the broader market can impact each other. So I might park here for a minute and kind of go through this chain, because I want to make sure that the audience is kind of made aware of this, and we can have this as a shared point to ground our thinking on this. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but let's just have it for a middle position between us. So as we look at the correlations of XRP and how it exists in the broader market, kind of in this TradFi framework, we'll go ahead and lay down a couple mile markers you want to be aware of. Well, we already understand XRP is clearly, as all cryptos are, it has a degree of influence on it by Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin sentiment's up or down, that's obviously going to have a cascading effect in the rest of the broader crypto market. And that's kind of, anybody that's been in crypto for any amount of time, you can kind of just see that with your own eyes. That's not a hard one to pick up on. Now, where it might fall off a bit for people is, okay, well, what's the relationship of XRP and Bitcoin to the broader TradFi framework? Okay, so let's kind of walk through this. We've got these kind of fundamental pillars like the dollar, the Dixie, crude. Okay, so these are two that you want to be aware of. They're going to have their own volatility, especially now when we see some of these geopolitical tensions. You see stuff like the tariffs and these type of things. Now, when we kind of get more into an index, when we look into the indices and we tie out the correlation chain there, we want to look at the S&P. We want to be aware of what the S&P's relationship to the Dow Jones industrial average is. The S&P is the top 500 companies. We're just unpacking this as a groundwork for people so that we can assume that maybe you know this, maybe your friend doesn't. So we just want to put this all out here clearly.
Right. Not fall into the fallacy of the curse of knowledge, thinking that everybody understands the context,
Exactly.
Everybody knows what we're talking about. We try to build on bare bone fundamentals. Make sure that everybody leaves with information they need to live with. Again, communication doesn't happen until the other person actually decode what you're saying. So that's the core of it.
Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. And so we'll just march through these. We've got the S&P, that's the top 500 companies, okay? Then you've got the Dow Jones, the DJI, that's 30 companies that represents much smaller. It represents kind of the core health of the American framework. We go down a little bit deeper than that. We get down to the RTY. This is the Russell 2000. Okay, so the Russell 2000 is comprised of 2,000 what's called small to middle cap companies in America, and this kind of represents the middle class of the economy, if you will, the booming middle class. This is where you would see the strength come out of it. So this is a sentiment marker for us. And in relation to the Russell 2000, we have the ticker KRE. Okay, so Russell 2000 is ticker RTY, and KRE represents it's an ETF. It's actually an ETF, stands for an electronic traded fund. And so it's an ETF of regional banks. And these regional banks actually support the Russell 2000. And so here we've got a framework that kind of provides all of the pillars for a quick macro analysis. You make sure you understand the DXY, crude. Okay, you want to get a signpost on those. See our fundamental strength in the S&P and the Dow Jones. And then you kind of might hear sometimes blockchain backer talk about this notion of we want to see the breadth open up in the broader market. And we'll take that as a real strong bullish signal for sentiment, for kind of like all systems are green. We're looking good here. And you see that when the strength comes to the Russell 2000, and you see that get even more kind of cemented when the KRE follows behind that, because what's happening in reality is the KRE, this ETF of these regional banks, they're growing because they're supplying the demand to the Russell 2000, which shows us that there's a breadth opening up of strength in the market. And so when all of these signals kind of confirm together, that's when you can say, okay, we're looking good, sentiment's starting to come back, and that risk-on appetite seems to be there. So where are we right now? I think we're at the bottom. Okay, sentiment's going to drag behind that for maybe another month or two. And after that, you want to make sure you've done your due diligence, you've done your research, you've got your positions in, because You don't want to get caught having missed the opportunity to get your maximum gain potential in, honestly.
Yeah. I wanted to say, if we're at the low, and I know that a lot of us get into a funk. I actually got an XRP ticker right in front of me, a big LED, and I see it go up and down all day. And I know I don't want to get crypto brain, but it's hard not to when you knee deep into this. So how should we, right now we're feeling like we're in that desert crossing that you mentioned, and I think that concept is really helpful. How do you personally stay grounded mentally when you're at the bottom? Because I know it sucks, right? I mean, it just sucks. I mean, we as human beings, we have to feel our feelings, but also our feelings are a good guide, but a terrible master. How can we make sure, that they don't lead us astray?
Boy, our feelings are a good guide, but a terrible master. I'm going to tuck that one in my back pocket, bro. I love that. Thanks for sharing that one. But boy, that really is it, isn't it? These feelings are a good guide. They kind of give you that moment of reflection and say, you know what? Let me make sure I look in the mirror. Am I being a bit moody? Am I thinking with my emotions? So we kind of take that as a guide. Now we want to say, okay, how can I make sure I'm making the best decision? So we gave a framework just then about how we can think about the broader macro environment. And this is it's a bit boring. It's a bit dry. I lean on blockchain backer for a lot of that. I would argue that's probably where a lot of people should be. That's probably where they are, and good for you if you are. He's had phenomenal calls over the years. Now, if you want to kind of get out of that doldrum, what I've been doing, I know you're enjoying it. It's part of the ethos of the Cult Cast here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I know this is where you guys are at. It's getting to the ledger. So if you're an XRP holder, then you've probably understand to some degree the kind of broader macro, TradFi, geopolitical tension. This is how we've always thought about XRP, kind of this banker's coin, even when we had to get into the legalese as a community because of the SEC and Judge Annalisa Torres and that whole arc. I mean, incredible with John Deaton. And so the XRP community has shown that it can adapt to these different environments. Like, I'll never forget, I took it on myself to become a armchair quarterback, an expert for some of these legalese and these documents with the SEC and everything that came with those arguments with John Deaton. And I think we're in this situation again where the broader community has to say, okay, it's time to adapt. What's our next step? Well, the next step is, how can I go deeper with XRP as an asset? So what are there different ways that I can take exposure to this asset meaningfully that will have potential upside not only for my bags, but for me as a holder? So what would that look like? Am I learning more? Am I growing in my journey? Do I have a deeper understanding of how I can deploy this asset if it really is that valuable? Do I know the system in which it exists? Am I familiar with these things? These are things I took for granted over the years. And I found myself when I did have to get to this question, which was just asked, hey, we're kind of in this bear market doldrum. I'm feeling, these emotions are a good guide, but not a master. So what is my next step? Well, here's a good one. Here's the one I would say is our next step to get us through the desert, as John Deaton and others stepped in to get us through that legal hurdle. Here we have another opportunity to kind of get us through this next doldrum, and I would offer that it is getting to the ledger, understanding what that means. All these different bullish aspects, from projects to platforms to different DeFi opportunities to yield boosting opportunities and everything in between. We can I've got a list of them here. We can touch base on them, but what do you think? I mean, have you enjoyed your time getting to learn and grow and understand the communities on X and kind of get closer to the ledger yourself there, Mano?
Absolutely, man. It's been phenomenal for me. It has brought me a feeling of, number one, unity. I actually read it in the chat earlier, like that unity, seeing everybody pushing each other up. It's almost like the ledger is, what is it? The rising tide lifts all boats, right? And one of the things that I've realized is that it feels like once we are going back up, right, we see this ability, the connections. So let me switch connections, and we're back on the stream. So give me just so sorry about that. We had a quick glitch, but as I was saying, as a newcomer to the scene, as someone who now is behind the scenes trying to build this community in a more organized way, I can definitely see myself 5 years from now, 10 years from now, being face to face and long life friends with the people on the other side of the screen. So it's almost like, it's almost like Ready Player One, right? We all into the Matrix together, having fun, but then we're going to come out of that and actually have fun in person and see the fruits of our labor. That these relationships are not just zeros and ones, but they're true relationships, true friendships, and they sometimes go deeper than the one with the neighbor, right? Because of the shared commonality of our values. Is the shared value proposition that we have here on the ledger. And I think that is better than anything I've been able to experience, bro.
Dude, that's why I knew you were the person to cook with on this, man, because that's what it is. That's why we're here. This shared ethos, the ability to have this like-mindedness. We don't have to agree on everything.
On everything, yeah.
But let's have a shared point of departure at least for how we think about things we want to tackle, how we want to win together, how we want to lose together, how we want to build these relationships, how we want to exist together. All these opportunities to learn, grow, multiply. We want to make sure we're taking advantage of those in the best way possible. Our people are going to win.
I know.
Okay, that's no secret. People are going to win out here. How do you want to win? Who do you want to win with? Do you want to be able to look back in 5 years, 10 years and be like, man, this is what happened. This is the way we did it. And that was a blueprint. You know what? That's going to serve me as I move forward in life.
Well, we talked about it the other day. We were talking about how much you were enjoying the journey of streaming. That is a microcosm of the journey that we're in on the ledger, right?
That's right.
So let's enjoy the journey. This is not going to, Lord willing, if I wake up tomorrow, I'm not going to stop, right?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to double up my efforts. But I know that when sentiment is down, when we feel like we're at the bottom, we got to stay strong, mentally. And I think that we do that better together, right?
That's right.
The same thing, like, I want to go and stay in shape. It's better to do it when me and my homeboys go and hit the weights, right? Than when I go alone, right? When I go alone, I got to exert a lot of the mental fortitude and a lot of discipline. But when I'm with my boys, I'm having fun and I'm over there doing what I'm supposed to do. So I think it's the same principle here when it comes to the ledger. And I think that's just wisdom of the wisdom of the collective.
Yeah, and this is us talking about the benefit of having a community, this communal effort. We've already enjoyed and seen how powerful this is just being part of the broader XRP community. This is probably, in my opinion, the biggest community out there, probably the most well-informed, ready to activate, in my opinion. But this is just the emotive side of it. We can go on Ledger, and we can see success has left clues. We can go look at our friends over at First Ledger, incredible team, huge deployments they've made to advance their user interface, their user experience.
By the way, everybody on the other side of the screen, make sure that you share that short that we put out today because we talk about First Ledger. And then again, we want to be able to be the go-to source of education. It is my go-to source of education, even though I'm involved in the production and the project. But I'm learning as I am. Chopping up these shorts, and I am re-listening to the wisdom that you share with us, Pheanor. So if you want love, actual love is the act of wanting the best for the other individual. And if you want the best for your friends out there, sharing this information is essential. Right. So I think that's how we stay strong mentally, too, because we have to be, the XRP ledger is good news. We should be sharing it.
That's what I say. We're going to share the good news of the ledger. We're going to proselytize the masses, and we're with an evangelical bend, buddy. And, but it's even like you said, man, like love moves, right? You got to see what's good for the other person on the other side of the handshake there. First Ledger did that. Okay, we've got a paradigm move here with their State of Earn campaign, putting up crazy amount of XRP for the community, all with a dedicated focus to building the actual on-chain environment. We're talking about increasing the liquidity depth for RLUSD on-chain. Okay, these are real goals. First Ledger has a focus on real goals, and they have included an opportunity to bring us along the way as they offer these methodologies to bootstrap these things that are needed in our environment. A deeper TVL total value locked, which is a liquidity, a deeper TVL of RLUSD, the Ripple stablecoin for XRP. Boy, that's a huge goal. And if they can help accommodate that, bring us along the way. There's 5 epochs. The next epoch for the State of Earn campaign is on April 20th, so that's right around the corner. 50,000 XRP allocated to the reward bonus, the yield boost. For the past epoch, for 30 days, the yield stayed over 100% the entire journey. Okay, so these are opportunities that you can avail yourself of on April 20th. I know I'll be there. I hope a lot of other people will be there. Obviously, you can always find the documentation in the links in the description below.
Yeah.
We covered it in the last one. We'll cover it when it goes live on the 20th. We'll be sure to not leave any stone unturned on that. But there's a litany of things we can go through. Grid, they're building out their service layer. Come here in Vegas, they're going to be presenting to the EZA guys. These are some of the top builders in the eco. $100,000 up for the prize winning.
Yeah.
Okay, bro, this is bullish. So we got all these type of things going on. Seals with the V2 on the website, NFT migration, setting new metas. I mean, building, learning, growing, multiplying. This is what we want to do. So when we reflect back and we say, what's up with this sentiment curve? Okay, if you find yourself in the desert, if you're crossing that desert of sentiment and you're saying, man, I'm feeling a little parched out here, I'm feeling a little beat up, dejected, and beat down. Well, here's another place where you can find a little bit of respite. Come learn, grow, get that community we just talked about. Make sure you lock in with people that've got that like-mindedness that you can go far with. They're not here today, gone tomorrow. That there's a level of reciprocity in the culture, cult, short for culture. Yeah. We're going to build a good culture here, okay, where handshakes exist. Yeah. All right.
And I was going to say this is something too that, my little social media agency that I run, and I'll tell people, I tell people all the time that there's plenty for everybody. Here we are in a mindset of sharing and a mindset of abundance. Right. So all these projects we want to feature, we want to platform. Now, this channel might look small right now. Let's circle back around a year from today and see where we are. Right. Because we're not doing this again for the views. I've grown channels to millions of followers. And I realize that after about 20,000 is just for looks. Right, because you from the beginning you'll get your core set of followers that are going to be what we call the sneezers, the ones that want to pass on the good infection to everybody else, right? And then everybody else is just fluff. Now they come and watch a video or a short or something like that, get what they want, and they go. I know I treat a lot of channels like that, but this that we're building today is going to outlast both of us. And Lord willing, I mean, we talk about, I have never in my life, I'm come from Costa Rica. I grew up and my basement is the size of the house that I grew up in. Put it like that. Right. And I never had a mindset of generational wealth. And now that's all I think about. Right. Because I know how much good I can do even when I'm gone if I have this resources working for me. But with that being said, I just want to make sure that because we do want to progress on the show and we want to make sure, because we're having fun here.
Yeah,
so,
we get stuck.
Yeah. So we're going to go into the XFIT analysis. That's exactly what everybody been waiting for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the screen, that infamous or famous, X post or tweet, and then you're going to read it out and you're going to break it down as you do that. So here we go.
All right. Man, strap in. We're looking forward to this one. So this is in the trenches of the XRP ledger. This has become a bit of an infamous post from David Schwartz. Okay, now let me tee this up a little bit. Some of the contextual information around this is, what is David Schwartz saying? Okay, is he saying memes are bullish? Is he saying that this is a level of exposure that's worth having? Is he saying that XRP will literally just lift all the meme tokens regardless? Okay, so I've heard everything in between, and we're going to take this tweet step by step. We're going to break it down, okay? So we're going to go right through it and handle every part of this tweet. So if we want, I'll just go ahead and start into it, and we'll kind of unpack the nuances as we go. Now, this is for the audience. I want you to think about this in two ways. Okay, so we're speaking to the people in the trenches right now, but please understand, if some of this you're not familiar with, like this stuff about AMM and all this stuff, just understand it is popping off on the ledger. David Schwartz himself has made a comment about this, and he's kind of setting up a framework for us to ask and understand interesting questions about how we can go deeper and how we should think about this. So here we go. I noticed something interesting about many meme coins on the XRPL. In many cases, nearly all of their liquidity is in the form of an AMM, automated market maker, that's the liquidity pool, between XRP and the meme coin. Okay? This means that if the price of XRP, say measured in dollars, okay, goes up 5%, the price of the meme coin, again measured in dollars, tuck that one in your back pocket, we're talking about dollars, goes up 5% automatically because the AMM maintains the same exchange rate to XRP. So what has been said here? Okay, we've got three value points on the table in this first paragraph. We've got XRP, we've got the meme token, and then we've got the dollar. Okay, so we've got three levels we're looking at in this context. Now, what he's saying, what this first paragraph is simply saying is, because the meme tokens on the ledger are paired with XRP in their liquidity pool, which just means that there's two tokens in the liquidity pool that are paired together in the AMM, and that's going to be XRP and the meme token. In this instance, we could use Colt. So let's say that the price of XRP were to go from $1 to $2. Well, what is the implication for Colt in the pool, for the price of Colt? Well, the price of Colt is not going to change. If Colt is worth, I think right now it's worth 175 XRP, well, it's not going to be worth any more XRP, but it is going to be more valuable. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the price of XRP in dollars went up. Therefore, the total market cap valuation of Colt will go up in parallel to that. Why? Because Colt, as a meme token on the XRPL, it inherits the same properties that XRP, the native asset, has. Okay, so these meme tokens on the XRPL are essentially white labeled XRP units. You could think about it like that. And so if the price of XRP goes up $1, then the same valuation for Colt will go up $1. Okay, now he goes on down later to kind of tease out the distinction that everybody wants to get to. He says, of course, the meme coin's price can change independently of the price of XRP. Okay, let's just park right there. If the price of the meme coin, if the price of the meme coin changes independent, okay, to the price of XRP, then what has happened? Now that meme coin is worth less or more XRP, not necessarily dollars. We're focusing on the price of how it's weighted in its price against XRP. So if the price of Colt were to go up and XRP stayed the same, if it went from 175 XRP to 200, okay, shout out new all-time high coming soon. Anyway, so if it were to go to 200, then okay, now Colt is worth more XRP, so because you've got an actual price change there. But if it were to stay 175 XRP per token and the price of XRP went up, then that just floats the entire value of Colt. Right. So we've got two separate things. Okay, we've got we've got the dollar value of XRP floating the entire ecosystem, but we've also got this independent part where Colt can move independent to XRP's price, and that's how you actually make more XRP. Okay, that's how your token actually becomes worth more XRP. Okay, so hopefully that helps tease out a couple of things, and we start to understand what David Schwartz is saying here. I think he's mega bullish. I think what he's telling us is, look, guys, here's your next layer of exposure. Okay, now you got to beware. This has got the casino-fied risk and all this stuff. So we're here in theory land. In reality, you got to deal with people, emotions, and everything in between. You know, everything that comes with that. But the theory of it, okay, is what he's saying is, yeah, if XRP runs, the whole market cap will flow up with that dollar expression of XRP. Now, if your meme token runs independently against that price movement in the positive, you have not only captured the USD valuation curve of the XRP move, you have now captured more XRP because your coin's price action moved independently upward against the price of XRP.
So you're winning.
Double one.
So that's what I was going to say. So you're winning on the XRP side because XRP is going up based on the value of XRP based on the dollar. And then on the other side, you have more XRP being generated by just holding that meme token because that meme token valuation is going up in XRP, which in turn, is being fed by the price of XRP based on the USD. So there I mean, even me, who was a noob in all of this, can see that, and I can see that on the tweet or whatever you call this, an X, a post or whatever, right?
Yeah, post. I guess.
Yeah, a post. And you can see that sentiment kind of seeping through, like the soul or the essence of what he's saying is there. It's like, hey, look, guys, you have this here that can go up and will go up, and then you have this here that also can go up and will go up. So it's almost just a multiplier of a multiplier already. Right now, you guys need to know, this is not financial advice. We got to make that clear, but you can read between the lines.
Yeah. Clearly, we've got David Schwartz himself. You can see this post. We're pushing up into the 800,000 views. This is, this was a shot heard around the world in the trenches. Everybody tried to unpack this and understand what we're talking about here. We've pretty much made it as simple as possible as we want to understand what he's talking about here. We've got these two different value pipelines. And so as Mano said himself, he articulated that, perfectly. But this is just the very basics. Okay. This is David Schwartz saying, hey guys, look, this is a new function that we have on the XRPL. We got here because we had an amendment get passed that enabled us to have liquidity pools on the ledger. That was about a year and a half ago, something like that. And so now here we are this time later, people are starting to get it under their belt of what this means and what it means to be able to drive value for our projects, for our own passions, to raise awareness for different things, for all different kind of ways, RWAs, real world assets, and all different kind of cool things you can do. And this, like we said, this is the bare bones. Okay, so when we get out here, we say, okay, well, this is fantastic. If we've got a base value proposition at the simple level of, hey, deeper exposure, that exposure has asymmetric value proposition to it, which is what we love to hear as crypto native. Now, we can even go further and say, man, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We can go deeper. And if you get to know people like Project Shout Out the Farm, they've got a guy over there, his name is Cookie. Brilliant guy when it comes to liquidity management, and we're all putting together these cool methodologies by which we can basically build out our liquidity pools so that we can get a third layer of value, so that if I do add RLUSD as a component to the liquidity in my project, Colt or Shout Out Farm or whoever have you, then now we're in a third level of value generation, where if the price of XRP were to go up, then we're going to have what's a technical thing called arbitrage happen, and it's going to bid up the price of your token even more. And so it's really important, you don't want to see this, something, what would be a failure in my mind would be to see this incredible ledger that's getting, kind of queued up for us, this incredible development roadway and this opportunity for us as the XRP community, the broader XRP community. If we forego this and we allow these cross-chain people, who are just so smart and so talented at this, and they've been in these circles for quite some time, and they come in here and they make the ledger theirs, what have we lost? We've lost our culture. I mean, this is something I cherish, cult, short for culture. I've been in XRP for a long time. It's important that we keep this culture, that's what makes us who we are. We're deep thinkers. We investigate. We're going to put the dots together. Creative people, diehard, committed. It's nothing. I'm going to be here for as long as I can be. And then a little bit more.
And then some.
I'm not giving up for nothing.
Absolutely.
That's what it means to be in the XRP community.
I was going to say, just shout out to everybody who's been here. We passed the 40-minute mark. So we are three, we are on the third quarter of the show, and just give yourself a round of applause because you're here for the long haul. I want to know, Pheanor, if you want to finish up the tweet, and then we can move on to the next one. I got some questions for you related to that.
Yeah, I think I'll just say the last thing, and we'll just go ahead and read it for posterity. We'll get this one behind us. So I'll finish this up here. Of course, the meme coin's price can change independently of the price of XRP. Okay, we said that. And an increase in the price of XRP leading to an increase in the price of the meme coin can trigger profit taking in the meme coin, even if it doesn't trigger profit taking in XRP. But still, it means that if you hold $50 worth of a meme coin of this type, one component of the future price of the meme coin will be changes in the price of XRP. In effect, you have some exposure, which we said earlier. In effect, you have some exposure to the changing supply and demand for the meme, and some exposure to XRP, which is what we've said is this deeper layer of exposure. And I think that's really what we're getting at. I wanted to make sure we read that for anybody who's just listening. Some people like to view, some people just like to listen. People are busy. So
by the way, we're gonna be on Spotify as well. Some people were saying like, this is somebody asking, hey, is this OBS? Absolutely, 100% OBS raw power, baby. PC master race. That's what we do here. The other thing I was gonna say is this is produced in a way that it is premix your audio. That's why we have these radio voices right now, so this can go straight into Spotify, baby, and we're gonna do it sooner than later. But with that being said, Pheanor, let me ask you a question. Would it be fair to say that XRP meme coins are basically a way to get deeper or more aggressive exposure on XRP?
That's what we're saying. That's where we want to land this plane. If you find yourself in the broader community and you say, you know what, this cult podcast, they're kind of serving up something I'm not sure I'm ready to digest.
Right.
I've got a bit of indigestion when I think about meme coins. What do you mean I'm going to use my XRP? I hold my XRP. These type of things are what you're going to be battling against. And so we've put this tweet from the pseudo commander of broader XRP nation, and to kind of put the writing on the wall. He's saying himself, this is a deeper level of exposure. There is real value here. These are amendments that are passed on the ledger. They're not going anywhere. And so if you're really part of the community like that, if you're really XRP to the grave, then you wanted to, even if you don't feel comfortable participating, do yourself a favor and make sure you know what's going on out here. You don't want to be swimming in ignorance. You want to at least know.
So let me ask you this. If the upside is higher, right? If we have a multiplier that is making us XRP and XRP goes up, does that automatically mean that the risk is higher too? Because we have to look at the things from both angles. Like when I look at this, and obviously the first thing that you told me is like, dude, you don't play with your mortgage money, right? You got to have some sort of disposable income to get into this. Now, like I said, I come from a very addictive past, so I had to jump in, all the way into the pool, right in the deep end, day one. But outside of that, I think about this, and I'm like, and you told me, you know about the investment that I made. I'm not going to go over that. We'll talk about that in the first episode. But You know, I wish I would have put it the whole thing on XRP because I lost my tail on it. But honestly, you know, I think about the risk. I'm like, okay, this is high risk, high reward. I want that. I need to get that dopamine hit. That makes me go. But you know, I have 2 kids. Well, I'm an empty nester now, but I have 2 kids. I have a lovely wife. I got investments. I got other things going on. I got to make sure that I diversify my portfolio. And I, you know, in everything I do that risk, you know, like high risk, high reward analysis. How will we do this on this side where we say, okay, we got a multiplier like Colt. We also have, you know, a token like XRP. But, you know, if I have a higher ability to make bank, do I have also the higher ability to lose?
Yeah. And I like how you drew that risk back to real life. Family, kids, your job, other goals, ambitions. You do not want to let this space become your identity. You don't want to let it suck you in like that. You want to keep a even keel, lead through education. You'll notice that we have not shown or put on video how to buy Colt. We are not shilling it like that. We are leading with information and education and really culture and community first because the risks are real and they're dire.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's even amplified more when we're talking directly to our brothers and sisters in the broader XRP community because we're talking about something that we cherish.
Let me say something.
We don't want to just lose that.
Yeah. Let me say something about that. Do you know what's the #1 category of podcasting in the world?
Uh-oh.
You know
Go
what
ahead,
that
bro.
is? It is murder podcast. Podcasts about murders. Why? Because we have a morbid fascination with those things. The problem is that we somehow detach the actual pain. And I'm going to say this. I'm going to share with everybody on the other side of the screen. In 2014, I experienced the murder-suicide of my aunt, and I was the guy who got the call. I remember my uncle calling me and say, hey, I just shot your aunt through the heart, and I'm about to go hang myself in the backyard. And he did. I had to identify both bodies. You know, I remember hopping on I-40. I was living in North Carolina at the time. I had a 5.0 Mustang. I was going about 100 on the interstate, praying all the way that my aunt was still alive. Of course, she wasn't. So I think about that, and you know, I listen to those podcasts. Those things are fascinating. I'm just like any other human. But the problem is that then we detach ourselves from the true consequences or the true emotional and real life, you know, happenings. And I'm sure that here with financial stuff, and I remember watching that movie about the housing market bubble, right, in 2008, how so many people were left out living in cardboard boxes. So I want to make sure that we're real. We keep it real here. And we tell people what are the possibilities, not only on the winning side, but also that there's always risk involved. And you have to have 2 things. The ability to reason when you come in. Don't be a retard. Right. And make good decisions because it could happen. Right. And make sure that you take this advice for what it's worth in a way that you can bring it to your day to day. This is not just hypotheticals. This can really make you or break you in the real world.
Man, nailed it. Dude, what a way to land that. I couldn't agree more. The risks are real. And we can kind of just put a point on that and make sure we're not just kind of pointing in these generalities. Let's put a point to it. Illiquid. Okay, this is a very nascent, fledgling, new, burgeoning, you know, have whatever word you want there, market. These are deeply illiquid. Okay, so that means a little bit of money can move it big. Okay, so we really need to understand what that means. You're coming here for Colt. We're good stewards. We're trying to practice this good stewardship. We're trying to make sure that, you know, we understand how delicate things are. We want to walk that up together to kind of make the greatest experience possible for everybody. But you're not going to find that everywhere. There's a lot of people that are just, you know, this is a ruthless game. Yeah. This is why we are leading with culture first, because you can get taken advantage of quickly. Yeah. Okay, quickly. So we want to make sure we lead with our culture first. We want to make sure that we're honest and upfront, and that's why we're trying to say, hey, here's us, here's the culture. Come land on that first, and then we'll get into the technicals. Then we'll get into, how do you get active and all that kind of stuff. We want to make sure people get their feet down first and don't get taken advantage of.
Yeah, I got actually another question because in a comment, I mean, it sounds like education and awareness is foundation, is key right here, and I know that's why we started where we started in terms of this journey of the production of the stream and the podcast and all of that, and the cult cast, because that's what we're going to call it, because that's what it is, right? So what should people really understand foundational before jumping into the XRPL meme coin, ecosystem?
Number one thing to understand is yourself. What are your boundaries? Before you come out here, what are your boundaries? How much time are you going to spend? So then you can say, look, it's getting over my boundary. This is becoming maybe not so healthy. What's your limit? If you hear the best thing you've ever heard in your life, because trust me, you're going to hear this 10 times from 10 other people. You hear the best thing you ever heard in your life. What's your limit? $100. I don't care how good it is. Here's $100 I'm willing to use to go out here, learn, play with, whatever. Learn, make sure you have a firm understanding of yourself, your own commitments, and your boundaries. Because at the end of the day, you are wildly accountable and responsible for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to do. That's the number one step. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is surround yourself with good people.
Clippable gold right there, baby. Clippable gold right there. By the way, we're going to be on Kick. We're going to be on Twitch as well. So you guys are going to be able to do your own clipping and have your own little shorts going on. Nice. In the future, we're going to have all sorts of interactivity here on the stream as well. We actually work all week to get the proper professional we're not going to be using Restream. We're not going to be using like little kids' toys. We're going to the big leagues when it comes to simulcasting, because you guys deserve the best of the best. So how about we move, because I think this is great segue to the meme of the week. We have a meme of the week for all of those guys, and actually, again, an applause to all of you guys, because we've been over 50 concurrent viewers for the last 15 minutes. So yes, we love you guys. Thank you for the support. Just that alone gets us pumped up here. So again, let's go ahead on and do the meme of the week. We're gonna go and look at the meme of the week, and you're going to break it down for us. Now, me and you already talk about it, so I'm going to make some comments on this, but let's go ahead on and bring it up onto the screen. So here it is. It's been on your Pheanor X account. Break it down for us. Yeah,
this is it, bro. And I know the chat is with me, man. I know you're with me on this. Anybody who's going to have a moment of realness, I know you're with me on this. This is just the journey, bro, and we're here for it. We're showing it. We're practicing what we preach, and the memes are going to convey this, okay? Cult rising. Keep grinding. One day you're going to look up and see how each of those single steps have taken you far. And that's what we've done. And you see my guy here pulling back that drape, that bland, crusty-looking canvas that everybody was looking at like, cult, yeah. That's right. Intentional. And we're going to pull that back, and you're going to see that tight, crisp branding that my boy put together with his team. Incredible work from you guys, bro. All these little steps to now lead to a crescendo moment we have not even started. To then just pull that curtain back slowly and show people, hey, it's a lot of little steps. Okay, the cult, I'm going to say this again. The broadcast, episode 3. We're 2 weeks into this, 3 weeks into this, okay? Yeah. So, but guess what? The expression of cult as a movement, as a community, as a project is like 1.5 years old. So this is a mature expression of dedication, passion, conviction, all of these things finding a point of confluence, now taking shape and action, becoming tangible for the audience to receive that spiritual vibration we're going to put down on you week after week. And we're going to learn and grow and multiply together. And this meme put a bow tie on that for me. It reminded me, and this is from my guy NoTap. Credit to NoTap in the community, cooking up memes like I've never seen before, dropping them on a timeline. I'm like, stole, smashed leak it. And, I'll leak it in a second, boy. Giggle leak, bam. And, but that's where I was with this, man. I was like, man, no tap, brother. How did you get this spiritual synchronicity moment with me right now where I'm like, dude, he's put this meme together. He took our branding, put it behind it. And that just shows you, bro, this was just from the community.
Unity, baby. It's like in one accord. Like, it's the mindset is just so freaking phenomenal where we're looking at this and we're like, we all feeling it. We all thinking it. And then again, we don't even have to get supernatural to understand the vibes of the community itself, right? Where you just got to give each other the look and you're like, yeah, I know what you're thinking. We know where this is going. And I think we have to make sure that we understand the importance of adding up. When we look back, hindsight is kind of like, it takes away the wonder of the steps that we've taken forward. I mean, it helps us to see how far we've come. But if we understand that every single step forward, whether you're running a mile a day or you're inching up, by the time goes by way too fast. I'm 43, bro. I mean, it looks like, I'm like I'm living dog years, right? Like every year I feel like, 7 has passed. And if that's the case, when we look back, we're going to see that as long as you keep pushing forward, I don't have a lot of money to be buying. I don't have a lot of money to be invested. Well, guess what? Get off your latte, whatever BS you're buying, grab that and buy a little bit here. Right now, buy the dip, right? That's one of the things. Listen, one of the things that I've learned early on is the ABA strategy. Always be buying. Little here, little there. Now, when I think about what I'm doing, and how I am moving my money, it has allowed me to mature in a way that I've never matured before, being someone that is like, okay, instead of buying that stupid $300 Star Wars helmet, right, that I would have dropped, $300-$400 in a heartbeat for, now I'm like, you know what? No, let me go ahead on and put that in my bag. Let me go ahead on and use that resource to think long term, not quick gratification, but long term, your pleasure delay. And one day I'm going to be able to buy the whole wall of helmets, right? But today I'm going to make a conscious decision to spend this 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks on XRP. And then I'm going to move it to cold, right? And I'm just going to let it sit there and I'm going to forget about it, and I'm not going to be thinking about what if. Forget about the what ifs, If I don't start taking action today, I'm not going to look at myself 5 years, 10 years from now and look back and say, crap, I should have started back then. No, because I did. Right. So I think that's foundationally. And I think everybody here kind of knows this intuitively. Some of us are a little bit more delayed in taking action. But once the third eye is open, right, you cannot not know it. Let me say it again. Once the third eye is open, you cannot not know it. And then you start beating yourself up because you know that what you're doing could be having a much bigger impact if you're in the game for real, for real.
Man, and right there it is, bro. Like, yeah, I'm thinking about that myself. I'm like, man, if we didn't take those steps, every little step, and now look where we are. We get to enjoy something like this, and there's so many more steps to take. I mean, every step, you get to taking bigger ones, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to find our momentum. We're going to keep taking those steps forward, adding value brick after brick, community member after community member. It's so important that we keep this long-range, high-value mindset for community, taking care of people. Well, one announcement we can get to here at the end, we'll say one good thing about Cult, is shout out to the community. If you minted one of our NFTs, there's only 103 of them, NFTs. If you minted one of those, I believe it was roughly 200 days ago. If you minted one, we have given back that entire mint cost. The mint cost was 69 XRP. That has been given back to you in under a year, well under a year. And now there's still over, I think, $10,000 to be distributed out in value to the NFT holders. And of course, we're going to roll that back time again, much more. But it just goes to show you, for the cult, just be here with us. You know, you get in our reward program, you don't got to buy every day to grow with us. We're going to grow together regardless. We've built these systems that wherever you are in life, you can get your position, you can get exposure, however that makes sense for you. Obviously not financial advice, but these systems have been built for people to come plug in and it'd be a blessing to you. Yeah. You don't have to buy every day to keep up with us. You're going to grow with us regardless because of the way our systems are built, because of our methodology and the way we are as a community.
Yeah, and the other thing also that we are open to other communities to join in brotherhood,
Absolutely.
to lock arms with us, right, and to reap the benefit of the knowledge of the ledger, right? We want to be able to be that not only great resource of knowledge, but we want to be able to bring the great resources all together. This is where we party. This is where people are going to show up. You remember when you were little and there was always that one dude that mom just didn't give a flip about anything and had all the cookies and you know, the bikes were there for a reason, right? So we want to be that. We want to be that spot where it is. Right now, I do have, Pheanor, I don't know if you have any more comments or questions, because I actually got a final question for you. But actually, let me do this. Let's go ahead on and open up for questions, right? And so make sure and you go ahead on and drop your questions or your comments on the chat section right now. I will bring them up, and then we will have a little bit of discussion here with that, and then I ask you the closing question. So I know I saw Ninja Bunny Queen asking when merch. I actually I purchased some more blanks, and I'm working with a local not developer, what do you call it? A local merchant to make sure that we have enough for our first run. But what we're going to do is, the first thing that we wanted to do was to have the stream / callcast / podcast in the bag, right? And it looks like we have it. It looks like we have a good rhythm. It looks like we have the tech down pat. And now we can move on to, we want to make sure that the Discord server is up. And then we're going to be able to take pre-orders, and then we're going to send out. And of course, there's some of you guys are going to get, advanced samples and things like that. But for now, we want to make sure that we have, again, one foot in front of the other. We don't want to trip. We ain't got time. I'm 43. I don't want to scuffed up knees, right? I want to take one step at a time. We're going to make it happen. So guys, make sure that you all the merch is right here. Everybody wants the merch. Yeah, we're gonna get the merch. All right. So if you guys have any comments or questions, go ahead on and leave them on the use again to fresh also. Cult clothing. Yes, we're gonna have all of that stuff. Okay. I need that pink Paven City. We're gonna have, I promise you, okay, Bunny Queen, I'm going to personally oversee the development of your pink coal hat. Okay, I promise you that. So go ahead on and leave your comments, your questions. Pheanor, you want to take cover? I'll be bringing the comments over, and we're chatting with our see those comments pop up, hella dope. Okay, cool. Spaghetti. He knows what I'm using because he's like, is that OBS? Absolutely. So hit me up as soon as you make the Colt Speedo. Absolutely. We'll have the eye with the eye sits. That's what we're gonna be doing, baby. I'll design that for you. You know what I mean? Let me see. Okay.
I've seen you fools talking about those fanny packs, too, bro. You keep that in the seal space.
I did. Gold Alex, so fire or merch could be a standalone clothing bag. Absolutely. We listen, and guess what? All that, if we have decent profit margin, Guess where that's going back to? Because that's a conversation that me and Pheanor had.
You already know how I am.
Going back into the cult community. That's why we're investing in this community, and we're gonna be that cult lanyards. We're gonna be having a lot of stuff. Now, I am really picky about the quality of stuff, so it's not gonna be like cheap El Cheapo stuff. And I'm not gonna say anything about anything, but today I send Pheanor a tweet or an X about somebody criticizing some quality controlled stuff, and I told him that cannot be us. I want people that unbox our stuff and say, bruh, that this is above and beyond. Like when you open something, I actually buy a lot of my audio equipment from a online. I mean, I'm not going to give them free advertisement, but they're cool people, right? And they always have like candy, and they always have like stickers in it, and I'm like, that brings out a smile. I want that, right? That's exactly how it's going to be, bro. That's exactly how it's going to be. Absolutely. Call to 1 million. Absolutely, baby. We're going to listen, even if it's just a sentiment, right, of what we're doing here. We're going, like opening an Apple product. Absolutely. Even the boxing experience is going to be phenomenal.
No tap gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's okay to ask questions about the XRPL protocol. So this is something for you, Pheanor. Sure. So go ahead. Guys, this space is for you, right? We are just blessed enough to be on this side of the screen, but this place is for you guys. Go ahead on and ask questions on the chat section, because we want this to be interactive, right? This is not pre-recorded, obviously. This is not something that we just want to sit on our ivory towers and say, hey, listen to us because we know better. No. We want this to be something that you can be part of, okay? And then we have the Mysterium Files. Thank you both for your hard work. I'm so happy to be part of the cult community. Absolutely. So let me see. Cult merch smells like money.
They want that merch, bro.
Yeah, I know. Dude, cult merch is gonna sell, right? And that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we do is we don't want to create a lot of overhead. I noticed that in business, I've always been one of those that try to keep overhead down without sacrificing quality. So that's why we want to do, because we can have cult merch like tonight. If I go on and set up a drop shipping thing, and maybe we do some stuff like that with some kind of general merch shirts and things like that. But we really want to go the extra mile and make sure that what we're doing, it goes through a thorough quality control. And we just don't want to we want to be able to do exclusive runs. Not because it kind of creates just like the FOMO feeling. I know that's part of it, but also because it allows us to have a controlled pipeline where we know what is getting out there. All right. So anyways, let's see what else. I don't know if I have. Oh, okay. What would you say you do need as far as team jobs? And I think it's talking about
for like Colt. Okay. Yeah. Well, honestly, man, we've taken such a long time to build in the background to get teams. We're looking good on the community side. Obviously, anything that can help with community formation. We've got spaces coming soon. Shout out to the SEALs. These guys have been holding down the spaces on the ledger for I don't know how long now, months on months. Best morning space, really best spaces all the way around, if you ask me. But we'll start doing our part with the space scene as well. So really just kind of, if you're ever looking to get active, just shoot me a DM. Anybody in the team, shoot them a DM in the X community chat, the community chat on X, and we can pick it up from there and kind of get into some nitty gritty. What are you good at? What do you want to do? Or maybe I can help you. You can help me. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But yeah, it's a CTO. Colt, I'll say this one last thing. Colt is a CTO. It's a community takeover project. And so people just take leadership. They get up, they get active, they start getting it.
Funny. We were talking about that. And again, I just put Mountain Magnets up. It says, what can we do to help?
yeah.
Share everything that we're doing. I think that is foundational for us right now. I mean, this is a grassroots movement where we are really just, I cannot say that this is just me and you. Is all of us here trying to build this up. So just whatever you can to right now we are in what is called the awareness and exposure phase. Even though you see 50 plus people watching live on an account that barely a week ago hit 100 subs, right? It is next level. But one of the things that we need to understand is that right now, the more people see what we're doing, the faster the snowball effect is going to be. And it is, I've seen it 1,000,001 times doing a professional work on social media. Getting to the first 1,000 is the hardest part. Once you do that, 10,000 in the blink of an eye, 100,000 in the blink of an eye. When you get to 1,000,000, you're going to be like, wow, it took me just as long to get to 1,000 that it took me to get to 100,000 that it took me to get to 1,000,000, right? So right now, that's what we need. We need exposure and we need awareness. People need to know what we are doing. And the way to do that is to share, remix the shorts, share the stream, tell everybody and their mama. We actually have some people that are, I will say on the boomer side saying, hey, I got it. I understand, you know what I'm saying? I understand what you guys are saying. And, I'm excited to join the cult movement. Right, so these are things that you guys can do, but also if you guys have skills in graphic design, if you guys have skills in web development, because those are things that are going to be needed sooner than later. And then again, whatever, right now, we are running at a deficit when it comes to the production, right? Everything that we're doing it, out of our own pockets because we can see the big picture. We can see the future. Right. We know that this is going to be something that we're going to look back at and we're like, oh, okay, all this blood, sweat, and tears is going to pay off. Even if it's just one person that didn't know anything about the XRPL, didn't know anything about any meme coins, and they ended up hitting the big ones and their life is changed. I am happy. It is worthy. So that is it, man.
Yeah, even earlier in the episode, I hope people see it. I mean, I do my best for this. Success to me is determined, like what we said earlier. We were able to give back the entire mint cost of the NFT project to the community. That's our mile marker for success. Yeah. We've won when we've helped our people, and the same thing is going to be true moving forward. It's about the give back. Even when we build these systems and these kind of apparatuses we have here on social media for raising awareness and trying to challenge the community to go further, we're going to grow. That's fundraised from the team. That we're not taking that from the chart. We're not diluting our holders in any way. Never will. And so yeah, but we're on this journey together. We're going to do our part. We hope you do yours. And that liking and sharing really seems to be the sauce.
That's where he's at right now. Yeah, actually, Spaghetti says, how would you advise someone to get into cult that has a small amount of XRP but want to support and be a part of the community? Great question.
Yeah, bro. Not financial advice, but the number one thing to do first is if you ever see us in a space or anything, you want to jump into the cult community, let us know, join the community. If you have a little bit of XRP, discretionary funds, probably best to just go ahead and go on First Ledger. You can type in cult, CULT, and that'll pull up for you. We're the biggest cult token. We're the one with the eye. You should be able to see it on the branding. But you just pick up a small bag, get some exposure, get to know some people in the community on X, and we'll get you in the community chat. We'll all start to learn and grow, and as you feel comfortable, those next steps will emerge. But you can always DM me on X. You got my @ and stuff like that, and we always go further into DMs and stuff like that. Make sure people feel comfortable. Don't get over your risk profile, things like that. But yeah, just picking up a little bit of cult, a small bag of cult that'll go far for you and for us, and kind of start that journey.
Phenomenal. Well, man, we are 15 past the hour. It's been phenomenal as usual. We're going to go and hit the the clipping machine. We want to make sure that we get these clips. We're going to have at least 1 or 2 every day. We have now enough, I will say we have enough fat to trim with the last 3 streams that we have done. Again, let me see. I got one more. Let's see. Oh, right here. There's no tap, always having some good stuff. He said, when we start spinning up called spaces, he said we could do them on Friday after the stream, carry the energy forward. That is a phenomenal strategy, right? Because that actually creates a feedback loop. You know, they get people, and it creates replayability. It creates the ideas and the conversations are fresh in everybody's mind. They can build upon whatever was said here. It can go even more technical for the people who are already within the community. So again, all of these ideas are phenomenal. So
yeah, I really do like that one, because guys, one thing I want to share with the chat and anybody who's watching on YouTube or wherever the stream finds you, we are doing light work here. We are really trying to make this as simplified as possible. The waters are deep. If you're a technical person, you want to sink your teeth deep into, the XRPL. You want to get to know the best education, the nuances. Where's the value? Where's the development curve? And what's the innovation looking like out here? Trust me, this community can put you on game deeper and faster than any community on the XRPL. What we are doing in this broadcast is meant to be a service and a value add to onboarding participants to come and see, hey, what's going on the ledger. Once you jump in the community and you dig deep with us, you're going to see just how hardcore, down into the trenches, digging to get the most precious gems and high value information we are. We do that. We do that for real.
Absolutely. Well, look, man, last question of the day. And it is, if someone's watching right now and feel uncertain, whether it's about the market, XRP, or meme coins, what's the one principle or mindset that you would want them to walk away with today?
One thing I want you to walk away with is curiosity. Don't let that fire of curiosity die out. If you think you're onto something, if you think there's something worth learning, growing, getting deeper involved with, you kind of want to find out more, you keep that flame, that spark of curiosity alive. You take the journey, just as all of us have, to learn more, to learn, grow, multiply, see what's going on out here. Don't ever do anything you're not comfortable with. Make sure you understand the risk profile first, and make sure that you're acting in such a way that benefits you, and that you're in a group of people of like-minded intentions that want to see you win. Okay, so that's what you need to do. You keep that curiosity alive. You keep learning and growing and raising your own personal bar, and then you get active when you're ready on your own terms.
Oh, yeah. Don't be critical. Be curious. And with that, thank you, guys. This has been the Coldcast. See you here next Friday, same time, and same place. And, yeah, stay sharp, my friends. Seekers.
You have witnessed the mysteries unfold. You've drunk from the oasis of knowledge. You have stood within the sanctuary as the oracles spoke truth into the ledger's depth. Sacred broadcast may end, but what you carry forward, the wisdom, the vision, the code, power flowing through your consciousness, this realm's eternal. The grind does not stop when the stream ends. It sanctifies every moment. The enlightened do not rest. They multiply, they expand, they become the mean that reshapes reality itself. To those who join as seekers and now depart as initiates, the threshold remain open. The sanctuary awaits your return. The ledger never sleeps, and neither does the cult's ascension.